Here, I heartily welcome you all in this FDP program. As we all know that it is marked Day-5 of our program. And the program is on the innovative teaching and learning pedagogy. And the topic for today's session is experiential learning pedagogy. And for this, Dr. Kunal Soni sir, a very well-known person and expertise in his area is here with all of us to guide you all. But before we head towards the session, let's have a look on Sir's achievement journey. Dr. Soni sir is an associate professor of finance and accounting at School of Management, GSFC, University, Vadodara. Sir is having a total of 12 years of experience in academics and 3 years of industrial experience. Sir has a total of 24 publications in various reputable journals like Scopus, ABDC, UGC Care, Web Science, etc., including a patent in Government of India under the Intellectual Property Right Act 1970, for which he had received a loyalty grant for his innovation in finance on the topic called Techno Innovation and Growth of Indian Share Market. And his qualification, it includes many more degrees higher like BBA in Finance, MBA in Finance, Qualified Gujarat Set Management, PhD, Diploma in Foreign Exchange, and many more. Sir has received 3 Best Paper Research Award in various international conferences organized by different academic institutions which were sponsored by UGC and AICTE. He has been awarded the Best Faculty of Management Department at Paro Institute of Management, Vadodara. Sir has been invited more than 20 plus times by various business schools, UGC HRDCs, and research institute across India as a part of the resource person and session chair. Sir delivers the training on the different analytical software like SPSS, MOS, Smart PLS, eViews, etc. He has attended more than 20 plus faculty development programs arranged by the IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Vishakhapatnam, Ministry of Human Resource Development, Barodara Management Association, and many more. Sir has presented more than 19 plus research papers at various national and international conferences across India and USA, along with the 17 seminars and workshops. So, with this, without any further delay, it's my honor to invite highly esteemed Kunal Soni sir, which is known for his precision and expertise in his area on RFI's platform. So, next, the platform will be for Sir. Sir, please hold the footpress. Now, the platform is yours.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Yeah. Just confirm the screen sharing.
Visible.
It's visible.
Yes,
Thank you.
visible and audible.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, good evening, once all of you once again. So, the topic for today's discussion is to have the experiential learning, and as madam has mentioned, today is the 5th day. So, in the 4th day, I was also the part of one day where we had discussed about group discussion. So again, what we can call it as an experiential learning. So in a simple manner or in a simple language, if at all I need to explain or, I have to describe. So anything and everything which creates some innovation through the experimentations, and, out of these experimentations, we have trial and error efforts. And out of these efforts, whatever things that has been turned out into the right manner, which generates the positive outputs, in terms of the overall productivity, in terms of management language, if I have to say. And as far as the faculty is concerned, so positive output, and positive results, if at all we need to think about or we have to talk about, then we must have to say that, the positive output in the terms of, the overall student development, overall student growth, right, that has to be come out of this production. So that is what the theme of today. So, there are many experiential learning techniques, tools, which has been tried and tested by many of the experts in their, different domains. And out of these, different experimentations, with the applications of the right kind of tools at the right time to the right audience at the right place, right, they have generated some positive results. they have generated some fruitful outcomes, and through which, they are putting some values to the market, values to the society as a whole. And when I'm saying that the values to the society, values to the market, that means the overall development of the students, overall development in terms of the skill enhancement of the students for the particular field, area, or domain in which they are belonging, and that is where it is required, right? So this is what the importance of experiential learning is going to be very high, right? So that is what we have to understand. Okay, so with this introduction, I'm starting my presentation. So this is a flow of presentation that we are going to, we are undergoing with the today's topic. So firstly, we will try to understand the meaning of experiential learning. What is experiential learning? Yeah, how people perceive it to be experiential learning. How the experiential learning came into the picture, with the different terminologies that has to be utilized. Then we'll also see, after looking at the experiential learning, then we will also discuss that which particular person, author, or psychologist have given this particular theory, right? Because whosoever has given this theory, he or she might have tried and tested for a number of times. And, before delivering to the society, before delivering to the market, they must have defined all the parameters with the minute observations, and with utmost care, so that the real-time application of this particular concept and meaning should not get sacrificed, right? So that is where the importance of the experiential learning and the person who has given this particular concept is going to be very, very high. Then third topic that we will discuss today is what are the different stages that we have to undergo as a part of the experiential learning. Which different stages are the part of the experiential learning? So experiential learning is having different stages, parameters that everybody has to come out, by approaching to the different parameters, different stages, different layouts. It's not like that, we start from the ending and, we will become a master of all, right? It's not going to possible over a night, over a period of time, right? So there is a different stages that we have to see to it, and then after we have to decide what things we can work out for this. Then to bring out the experiential learning, we have different methods to talks about, to suggest, right? So what sort of different methods are available as far as the application of experiential learnings is concerned for the academic institute and universities, right? So how these academic institutes and universities are approaching towards the application of the experiential learning, and what sort of parameters they are utilizing as far as the application of experiential learning tools and techniques are concerned, and how these tools and techniques are bringing the revolution and upliftment among the students, right? Whether it is at the college level or sometimes at the secondary, primary, secondary level students. So this is what it's all about for the flow of presentation. So let's start with the Chinese proverb in terms of the meaning of experiential learning. So one person has said that if you tell me something, I'll forget, because I might be indulging into so many thoughts power, in my unconscious mind. Whenever I'm sitting alone, right, I have multiple thoughts in my mind. And, it is psychologically saying that, if somebody has told you something, right, and if at all, what is the chances of percentage that you will remember those things in a complete and accurate manner? So, it is like more than less than 0.5%, right? Because you might have played one game, right, passing the parcel in terms of, sending the message to each one. So it starts from the first person, right? The first person will instruct to the second person with some message, and the second person will instruct to the third person will instruct to fourth one, and so on. So after doing the chain, if at all the message is reaching to the 10th person, and then if you ask the 10th person the real-time message, right, and if you compare the real-time message has been passed by the first person to the second person, that was, far than it has reached to the 10th person. Why? Because people will perceive, people will understand in a manner they have to, right? Sometimes people forget, sometimes people believe that this is not the things that they have to instruct to the person, it is self-explained. But at the same time, the person who is perceiving or receiving this message, they will not have this perception that it is a self-explained term, right? So everywhere the person mindset, person, psychology, person propaganda is going to be differ, right? So that is what is experience learning is teaching to us. So if at all you tell something orally to someone in terms of some important instruction message, or some real-time learnings of the life, then there would be possible that they might forget, right? Let's say if you remember, if you listen the radio, right, and if you are listening some ads, there might be a possibility that you will not sensitize with that ad, right? Because you are not looking at the ad, you are not having any visualization of the scenario, what does this ad is talking about, and how this ad is creating the imaginary power in terms of making understand to the real time audience. At the same time, if you have the audio visualization of advertisement through the TV, through the mobile phone, through your PC, internet, laptop, right? So that's where you have multiple medias through which you can see the actual message that they are passing with all the emotions. So what is the benefit of this? So if at all you are looking at this message, right, in comparison to the message, the same message that you are listening at the radio. So the message that you are listening at the radio, and now you are watching at the TV or any media where you have the visualization process to be possible, then the remember power in comparison to what you were only listening as a part of important message is going to be very, very high. Why? Because you are looking at the visualizations, you have the imaginary of the visualization, and that's where your bargaining power in terms of explanation is going to be very high, right? And at the same time, instead of just sitting idle and looking at what things is happening as far as the study or as far as the real time learning is concerned, instead, once you understand the concept by visualization, if you real time applying those concepts into your practical life or practical aspect, then there would be possibility that you are actually understanding the actual process, and that gives an experience, right? That gives a the errors, and you will try to understand where is the errors, at what time I'm making this error, why I had made this error. And you are trying to understand the real time scenario of the particular message that you have listened and visualized. And you are also trying to prove the appropriate solutions for the same problems, right? And if at all you are doing this process as a part of your involvement into particular scenario, there would be a possibility that you have high chances to understand the messages, right? So if you involve yourself in a real time application, there would be a chances that you will actually understand the concept with the actual involvement into the process. So involve yourself into the process in whatsoever field you are, whatsoever parameters that you are looking for, whatsoever process that you are looking for, there would be a chances of high level of understanding in experiential learnings. So as far as the National Education Policy 2020 is concerned, right, which is introduced by the Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji, right, and he has focused upon the overall skill development among the students, with the application of the various pedagogy in terms of the experiential learning is concerned, right? And they might have defined certain criteria that needs to be focused upon as far as the student learning is concerned at the college level, right? By considering the real-time applications of the concept and the skill development and application of those knowledge into real-time scenario in terms of corporate level. Now the corporate people has also been involved in this process, and they are also sharing their requirements among the students as far as the skills and talents is concerned to the colleges and universities. And colleges and universities has also started to work out on the fulfillment of those requirements from the corporate level. And they are saying that the learning should have the experiential, means instead of making only classroom teaching to the students, right, this is just a monotonous task and it is outdated version of the study. learning process. Now corporates are demanding that you should involve the students into real-time application, right? Just take an example. You might have the internship programs to the students at your university and institute level. So the real objective of introducing such kind of program is to involve the students into real-time applications of the concept at the corporate level, irrespective of their field, whether they are from commerce, management, life science, biotechnology, whatsoever field in which they are, right? They have to work out on a real science, right? And that is where they are gaining the actual and practical knowledge. And that's why national education policy is also saying that the classroom teaching should not restricted up to the lecture and theory versions of the learning, but it should be holistic in terms of 360 development of the students' progress. That means if at all somebody is asking the students about this particular process, then they might be able to discuss, explain, and demonstrate the entire process that they have already learned as a part of the syllabus once the session gets finished. That is called the holistic development. Holistic development means you have a complete idea about the concept and topic before you start the session.
Bye.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
So up to how many minutes I got disconnected?
Last 5 minutes.
Oh, it's so since long. So from which slide we got disconnected?
So that holistic approach you were discussing. Message from National Education
Sharing the
Policy.
screen. So confirm from which topic we got disconnected so that I'll again share it and we'll have a
Second
discussion
point,
on.
you were discussing second point, holistic.
Okay, from holistic I got disconnected.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So yes, so it should be holistic in terms of overall development. Then the development should also be placed in terms of integrated. So integrated means each and every department should be interconnected with each other. Right? Let's say no department can work individually, and that is what we also have to teach our target audience, that you also have to learn in terms of integrated manner, means you also have to learn how to work with others, right? Because no department is individual in organization to take the decisions, because their decision is belonging to other departments, right? Let's say if at all you are working for sales department, the sales department always has to wait for the production department. Production department once finish it, then it will go to the packaging department, labeling department, and then after it reaches to the sales department, right? So sales department cannot stay away from the packaging department, packaging department cannot stay away from the production department, and all departments are also belonging to the finance department, right? So how much finance, how much budget has been allotted to each department, agreed? So that is where the approach is integrated, right? So even you are learning some facts and figures in your life, so you also have to adopt multidisciplinary approach as far as any innovation, any experimentations that you are doing it. Because if at all you need certain helps for this kind of things, then you should have the resources to be available. And that's where no efforts, no working in the organization should be independent, but it is interdependent, that is integrated. Then inquiry driven. So you always put a pause on the concept and try to make some question answer rounds among the students, right? That's where you will also came to know about some certain facts and figures which earlier you were also not aware about it, right? So that is where you have to have some inquiry driven, means you have to ask students about their feedback, solutions, their opinions, right? So all such parameters are important things, to take the opinions from the students. And and you can also learn what is their opinion, what is their thinking in this particular topic. Yes or no? Please confirm so that this kind of disconnection is there, so we can identify. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Right, right. Thank you. Yeah. Then after, it should be discovery oriented, right? So discovery means you should provide some practical assignments to the students and ask them to find out the probable solutions. And this activity should be given to the entire class. And it has been said that the one mind and the multiple minds makes a difference, right? So when we think about the multiple minds, so multiple minds may have certain sense, and with that they might have the brainstorming with each other, right, at the students level. So we are putting them into the conditions where they have to find out the solutions, and that's where they are learning the real-time applications of the particular concept that we are trying to teach to the students. And remember the one particular word which I had used earlier, involve me, then I will remember forever. So whenever students are getting practically involved into particular situation or scenario, then the real-time learning is going to be very high, right? And that is what we have to see to it, right? And that's where whatever learning, whatever tools, whatever parameters that we are trying to incorporate as a part of the teaching learning process in the classroom, ultimately they should be learner centered, right? We must have to put our students into the center point, and then we have to think about it, what should be good for them and what should be bad for them, and based on that we have to make out certain choices. And that's where we are trying to prove the learner center approach, right? Students are our customers, right? So at no cost their growth, their aims, their requirement should get that should be not fulfilled. We have to work for the fulfillment of the requirements, and that is where the learner center approach, we have to see, if at all I'm putting this techniques into the learning, how much contribution that this particular technique is going to make in the minds of students. That's where the learner center approach is going to be utilized. Then discussion based, we should put some questions or some open-ended questions among the group of students. Yes, 2 days before we also had a group discussion techniques. So that is what is called discussion based. So allow them to have a discussion, and out of those discussion, many more facts and figures, something extra things. Even we as a moderator is not knowing about it, right? So it is always a brainstorming sessions as far as the experiential learning is concerned through the group discussion. So yes, it should be discussion based, flexible. If any particular concept, any assignments is required to allow the students to go into practical market and take the feedback, opinion or something like that, then we should not refrain them to go into the market, but we must allow them to do such kind of activity, because this is what the ultimate learning that we are looking for among the students. Because no theoretical knowledge is going to work out, but the practical knowledge is always going to be a power for the students, right? And that is why we are we are also telling that knowledge is not a power, application of knowledge is power. And when students is in a position to apply the real-time applications of the particular concept of topic through the experience of the market, they might have the confidence among themselves. And that's where whenever they are coming back to the classes, and when the concept has been taught by the faculties again, and the moment the understanding and the enjoyment level that the students are facing are tremendous. And that's where they are building the confidence among themselves, because now they don't have to mug up the things in terms of the concept, but they already know what is that concept is, right? So they just have to listen, and they just have to interlink about their experience that they had in the real-time market with the theoretical knowledge. And the understanding that this kind of learning will give it's tremendous, right? So this is called learner centered approach as per National Education Policy 2020. Then we will see what is experiential learning according to you. Now we are also trying to see the real-time meanings of experiential learning. So the first is the active participation. So as I told the traffic should not be one way, it should be two-way. Both the party has to interact one by one and share their opinion, knowledge, thoughts, questions, right, and solutions as well. And that's where the overall learning should be possible among the group of students and the mentors. And for this, we also have to see the reflections also. Sometimes we are trying to incorporate certain experiential learnings, in terms of utilization of some props, some softwares, some portals, some, scenario-based analysis. So whenever we are experiencing any of the new tools among the students for the learning, we also need to observe very minutely how they are reacting on this particular utilization of tools, right? And that reflections will give you an idea which experiential learning tools is going to be useful for better understanding among the students. And I'm not saying that one particular tool is good for all the particular concept of that particular subject, but the tools are going to vary depending upon the topic to topic according to the subject as well. So I cannot say that for this particular topic, this particular experiential tool is good, then this experiential tool is also going to be good for the rest of all the topics of the particular unit. No, It is a scenario based analysis, and that's why it has been said that you also have to take into consideration the reflections of the target audience. And that's why it is also based on problem based. We always provide a problems to the students after having the discussion about the concept, and make them force to provide the appropriate solutions of the problem. That's where the students are forced to think, students are forced to create critical thinkings, students are forced to have a proper solutions about the particular problems. And that's where I'm concluding over here that the experiential learning should be problem based. And whenever we are going for the experiential learning among the group of people, so obviously this assignment should not be done at the individual level. As we have already discussed, that it should be integrated. So we have to work among the group of people to have the observation on certain parameters, and allow the people to behave in a flexible manner, so that the more and more productivity can be generated in terms of the reflecting the real time impact of the particular experiential learning pedagogy, right? So that's where you have to work with the collaborative efforts. That's where the synergy of the learning is going to be created. And most importantly, whenever we are talking about experiential learning, then as I already told you, it should not be monotonous classroom learning, but it should be the learning by doing. That means the application of the learning, right? As I already said, that knowledge is not a power, application of knowledge is power. And that is what the characteristics and behavior of the experiential learning is. You have to learn by doing it, right? So learning by doing is the ultimate concept for the experiential learning. So there was one particular Chinese psychologist that is called Kolb's. He has given some experiential learning cycle, right? And what he has said over here, right? So experiential learning always starts from this way: concrete experience. So concrete experience says that you have been put into one particular scenario, and you have been instructed to provide some observations in terms of looking at the scenario and see the reactions, right? So to do that, you will start acting, doing, and experiencing, right? So once you start acting, you might have certain observation, you might have certain results, and those results you have already experienced, right? So this is called concrete experience. That means you are already aware about the process, how to get the results, and you are forcing others to do the same things. Then you have to see the reflective observation. So we also have to see the observation of our students, right? When we are saying reflective observation, that means we have to note the reflection of the students for the assignment that we have given as a part of concrete experience, right? Because we are already experienced for this particular experimentation. So now we have to give this assignment to the students, and we have to observe their opinion, their reactions, right? And that is what it's called: look back and assess the behavior of the students. And you must notice what went well for the students, what is not going to well for the students, right? At the individual level, right? So this is called reflective observation. Then the third part is abstract conceptualization, right? Third part is abstract conceptualization. So once you have noticed the reaction of your target audience, you have to conceptualize, you have to summarize what was their observation, how was their behavior, what are their experiences, and how they have reacted into particular scenario or situation. So all these situations, all this fact, you have to conceptualize, and for which you have to draw the conclusion as well, right? So you have to make sure that this experience should went well, and at the end concrete conclusions. And once you have this abstract from this observation, right? So you have already derived some conclusion based on your experience. So then you have to have active experimentation, right? So now in that case, you already have experience. Here you have experience from the target audience. Whatever experience that you had it in target audience, you have conceptualized over here. So now at this stage, you all have the experience of both of these stages, right? So both of these stages has been conceptualized over here. And then by utilizing this experience, you are trying to have active experimentations, right? And then after, you are trying to draw some conclusion with the interactive discussion among these two parties, that is mentor and mentee, right? So mentor and mentee will discuss among each other, and develop some concrete plan or actions. And once this plan has been developed, they will evaluate the success ratio of this particular plan. And if this is going to be successful, they will might carry forward for certain period of time till the time any innovation or technology is not coming out, which force them to change with their cognitive mindset. But if at all they have been forced to change, then again they have to start from this level. So this is a chain-based cycle. We cannot say that at this stage the cold experiential cycle is going to be end, because it is circular process. Whenever any change is happening, you have to again start this, experience it, ask your opinion of the target audience, take the conclusion of them, and apply those conclusion into real-time applications. That is called actionable things, right? That means go and apply into the market. That is applicable, right? So, okay, cycle of experiential learning. So yes, as I already mentioned, right? What you, as a mentor, first you have to analyze it. Once you analyzed, you share with your mentors, that is your target audience, is none other than the students himself. Then once you share it, you force them to think, you force them to apply. And after these efforts, you have to analyze what is their reaction, right? We have already talked about the reflective observations. So through the reflective observations, how they are behaving, right? So reflective observation, you have to analyze, right? So whenever we are talking about reflective observation, that is a part of analysis. And once you analyze, right, once you analyze this particular aspect, right, once you analyze, you have to make an inference, means you have to draw some conclusions out of it, right? So you have analyzed the reflection of the students. So how was the reflection? Does the reflection was positive, or does the reflection was negative? Based on the observation that you have derived in terms of the positive and negative, right, you will try to apply those observations at this stage. You will try to apply those observations at this stage. And this is called application stage. That is called real-time applications of this observation, and try to reflect the real-time sense, right? Okay, and once this stage is over, and any new any new innovations has been came out, then again you have to start from this stage. So this is a cyclical process which we have already find in the previous slide, but yes, here you have understood with the parameters application, and in previous slide you have only understood parameters, but how this parameter needs to be applied in terms of the application. So here is the applicative parameters of the experiential learning. So now we will discuss about the various methods for the experiential learning. So as you can see on the screen, these are the number of methods as a part of the experiential learning. So the first is the field trips we can carry out, narratives, right? Conducting experiments, simulations, games, storytelling, focused imagine, field observations, role playing, model building, and surveys, right? So these are the important techniques of the experiential learnings, right? So field survey or field trips. So either you can carry out them to the industrial visits, right? Many of the management institute and commerce institutes are making, and other sciences are also making that, in whatsoever field you are, we have to find out the industry, and we make students to visit those industry and see to it, however, whatever concept that you have learned, how they are incorporated, how they are applying into this particular scenario. So this is called the field trips, right? So we have to see this, how the field trips, and that is called the brief observations activities of a longer or more sustainable investigations of the projects, right? So you are making investigations. So that makes you clear about what you have learned and how this learning is needs to be incorporated, right? And under this field trip, you are trying to explain the entire process to your students, irrespective of the field in which you are, and based on which the person who is working on that level, you are trying to explain his or her roles and responsibility that he or she is performing on a live basis at the corporates. And at the same time, once you have all the departmental visit is going to be over, with the appropriate learning. You are trying to ask the real-time learning of the students in terms of the feedbacks. Whenever you reach to the class and you are trying to link the concept that they have to learn as a part of the field trips, so students understanding is going to be very high, because you put whenever you are taking industrial visit, so there was 3 stages: tell me, second is show me, and third was involve me. So whenever you are carrying out students to the industrial visit, can anybody tell me which stage you are talking about out of these three? Industrial visit is about what? Tell me, show me, or involve me? Industrial visit you can put in into which parameter as a part of experiential learning?
Show me.
Perfect. Show me, right? Because at industrial visit, students are not performing, they are showing. So tell me, I'll forget. Show me. Show me. What was show me? You can see this. Show me, I may remember. So there is a chances that students may remember, and involve me, I will understand. So you are trying to make them remember about the particular process because they are watching live, right? So industrial visit will force students to remember things, right? It might not be working out on the parameter of understanding. So, right, they will remember here, but at least there is no chances of forgetting, because this is the classroom teaches. This is called classroom teaching. You are just speaking, and students might paying attention, might not paying attention. But at this stage, students might see certain machinery process, and they'll try to see and observe the scenario. And with this observation, they might remember something, because obviously they are not aware about the terminologies, theory, and basis for all the observations, but they might carry out certain conclusions out of this particular observation, and they try to remember those things. And that's why it has been said that whenever you are seeing any things, it will not create complete understanding, but at least it keep them into your unconscious mind, and that's how you will remember something whenever this things is going to come out in the near future in front of you, and you will try to correlate that aspect, right? So that's why industrial visit is in remember stage, right? So narrative is the essay storytelling. So narratives will be a part of which parameter? Tell me, show me, and involve me.
I
What which
think it
stage
is
it is?
tell me. I think it is tell me.
It is in both. Tell me and involve me, right? Tell me and involve me, right? You are showing some narratives and you are trying to perform some practical scenario, something, but more of in a case of tell me. You are right, madam, right? But in some narratives you are also forcing students to provide certain practical solutions, right? So yes, so here you are defined a point of view of concern about author's feeling. So author is sharing his or her feelings. That is a point to point observations from the readers and writers perspective, and it depends upon the experiences, usually in the form of storytelling. Covers the storytelling, that is plot, character, setting, climates, and ending. And that is narratives is always come out from the mentor's careful observations, support, and enhancement, right? And all the important criteria concerning the title have been attempted by the writers. So it is more about tell me. Experiments, so this is a category of third. Involve me, I will understand. So if this person is going to make a right chemical at this level, then do you think that this person will remember any time in their life? Not at all, right? This is called success mantra. If you involve them into practical scenario, if you involve them into learning of the particular concept by their own experiments, then there would be negligible chance to get forget at least for their youngster life or up to age of 60. I'm not talking about at this level where person is losing their mental remember power. I'm talking about up to 60 years of age, right, where the people is making job, doing job, and enjoying job. right? So that is where experiment, right? So it provides insight into cause and effect relationship among the various processes, and through which the learner is observing each and every parameters, point to point basis analysis. And that's where the manipulation chances are very less, because he or she has created his or her own understanding, and this is going to be a lifelong learning for them, right? So this is stage 3. Simulations. So it has 3 parameters as far as simulation is concerned. So first is visual, right? Second is auditory. You just listen in terms of radio, right? Visual means only picturizations, no voice modulation. But if you are watching TV, then it is called kinesthetic, right? Touching and doing, right? So visual means seeing and reading. So this is called TV state, but kinesthetic means touching and doing, right? Means what you are observing also, and you are also doing it, right? So it controls the parameters of universe and use it to achieve the desired results. And this is a kind of models where key aspect of actual scenario allows individuals to work upon it for the various purpose, training and analysis, right? So whatever concept that you are teaching to the students, and if you are sending them to the real-time market, to see the practical, observations of the students, or you are trying to put them into the scenario where they are trying to understand the each of the parameter, right? If you remember in last to last lecture, which I have it for the group discussion, I told you the role play. If at all, if you want to sensitize your students about any particular, what I can say, uh, employment or the role of the person, like if you want to sensitize the medical students about the doctor and nurses, if you want to sensitize management students about the role of salesperson and consumers, so instead of saying the characteristics, and the things which is there, you try to put them into that particular role, and that's where they will realize the emotion and sentiments of the person, and at the same time they will also try to reflect, the hurdles that they are creating. Because if one person is playing a role of salesperson, then another person is also playing a consumer. So the salesperson will define his situation based on salesman, and consumer will define his or her situation based on salesman. So they'll trying to understand the actual problems that they are going to face as far as this particular process is concerned. That is called simulations. Gameplay, right? So obviously you have to create some games and try to put into situation. So basically it is into the process of it is a part of somehow what I can say involvement process. Storytelling, so it's a narrative kind of things. It is in the first stage. So tell me, then there would be a chances that people will forget. But it is also powerful tool in the ancient time where the people do not have such market, some techno era, various tools to expose, right? At that time the classroom teaching was there, but now this is not the time to do that. So storytelling is an outdated version as far as experiential learning is concerned. But still, if you want to communicate any parameters, any concept after having experimentation, then obviously storytelling will also work out as a part of narratives. Focused imagine, you are forcing students to create some imaginary thinking power, enhance the thinking power in terms of, by looking at the particular situations or problem, and you are forcing them to think about this particular problem, because you are trying to see the difference between, the person who has a critical thinking and the person who is taking upfront decisions. So this is a person who is taking upfront decision, and this is a person who is making critical thinking. So you can see the difference of the systematic way of, thinking process, and application of that process is coming out when the person is already developed critical thinking power, and when the person is not having any idea about what has to do. So this creates a confusion in the minds of people, right? So whenever you are trying to drag your students about the certain problems in the field in which they have to develop their career, so this kind of exercise will work out for their employment process whenever they are going for the employment. So this is going to help them, and if at all, in terms of the other people who have not gone through this process, right? So focused imagine is a imaginary situation where you are forcing the unconscious mind of the students to think about it and provide an appropriate solutions by having scenario analysis. Field observations, put them into the real-time application market, share bazaar, whatsoever field in which their students are, force them to go, see, observe, analyze, have a thinking, get the conclusion, and share your opinions at the classes. That is what the real learning of field observation, the best experiential learning methods, I can say. Just just throw them to the field observation. Everything they will get it what they have already learned into the classroom teaching. So they will try to apply it, or they will try to inculcate the relationship between what theory they have learned and what practicality they need to incorporate. Role play we had also discussed in the group discussion. So whatsoever field they are, they have to involve into the particular sentiments of the people and try to understand his or her limitations. So whenever you are dealing in the market for the future reference, you'll also try to understand the sentiments, emotions, some business techniques to deal with those persons, right? And at the same time, you have to turn out to be the experiential person as far as the dealing is concerned, irrespective of the person field in which you have to deal, right? If at all you are dealing with doctor, lawyers, if at all you are doing with nurses, you know, whatever it is, you have to understand, even teachers, right? So you also, student also have to understand the teacher's sentiments and emotions, right? Sometimes we are also, forced, and we are also be overburdened for so many things. So yeah, we also have to make them understand the role of teacher when they are calling anytime, for any sort of queries, right? So this is very irritating things, but yeah, we have to make them forced to understand whenever we are putting them, or we are dragging them into the real time situations of the faculty, then they will understand the emotions of the faculties as well, and that time they will start respecting us, right? So this is what we have to see. Model building, usually it is for the construction or civil line, where they have to create some models based on certain facts, certain parameters, certain angles, certain measurements. So this is called model building. Survey, we all have done it for PhD and research. So this is a survey where we are taking the opinions of the people. We are trying to fetch the actual data about the different variables that we are trying to survey, and based on the behavior of the data, we are trying to conclude the particular scenario, right? So this is called the survey based analysis, right? So this is more kind of involvement and doing practical things partially. So thank you so much from my side. I'm making this session open for the question answer round. If at all you have it, I'm ready to answer. Please. Any questions, participants? Any sort of questions, any experience you want to share about, the teaching, learning, pedagogy you have experience in your classroom, so you can please. No questions? Okay, so then thank you so much to all for patient listening and joining today's session. I hope this is going to be useful to you for your academic journey, to serve your knowledge and serve your experience to the students. And because students is our target audience, so they should be at least at most beneficial stage as far as our job is concerned. So somehow you have tried some or other parameters in your life, but make sure that you should also know where to apply these parameters, at which situations you have to, right? And this is also going to come out with our own experience. So with that note, I'm concluding my session. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Nikita madam, for
Thank you so much, sir, for the
coordinating.
session. The best thing is that in the last, if no one is having any doubt, it means the whole session is completely successful, and it proves the same. So thank you so much, sir, for this
Thank you.
informative and well
But
explained
still, I was
session.
expecting one or two questions, because I
Okay.
feel that questions will enhance my knowledge also. But anyways,
Oh, that is okay, but no one is having any doubt. It means you have explained everything in a suchly deeply and informative way. So it was really nice session with you, sir. Thank you so much for this informative one. And thanks to
thank
all participants also for being cooperative. See you all again soon.